Thanks, Alex.
Well, the controversy over government programs designed to gather information from phone companies and the internet is raising the question over how much privacy we're willing to sacrifice in order to be safe. Joining me now is Congressman Jerry Naddler, a Democrat from New York. He is a member of the Judiciary Committee and ranking member of the Subcommittee on the Constitution. And with a welcome to you, I'm glad to have you here because I know you were one of several congressmen calling for a congressional hearing into the NSA phone tracking program. Your biggest concerns about this are what?
Well, I was one of the opponents of the Patriot Act back in 2002, and I offered amendments in 2002, 2005, and 2009 on precisely this point on the business records portion of the Patriots Act because we anticipated exactly what we've now found. I'm very unhappy that this is being done, but I'm not shocked that it's being done. We ought to have a requirement that before the government can get even metadata, that is who you called, when you called, how long your call was for, not the contents, they ought to have some indication that you have broken the law or that you might have broken the law, that there's an articulable suspicion that you're a suspect, not simply to be able to get a dragnet for every phone call, every internet communication in the United States. That's just wrong. Now, the argument is made that, well, completely destroying our privacy may help us catch terrorists. Well, first of all, I don't see why that is true, as long as you can go after if you can follow the tree when you have any suspected terrorist or any suspect. But even if it were true, if we simply took everybody suspected of a crime and threw them in jail, you'd probably lower the crime rate. We do not eliminate all laws and privacy in this country.
Well, as you know, though, Senator Dianne Feinstein, who's chair of the Intelligence Committee, has said that at least 100 plots have been thwarted since 2009 as a result of this.
And I would bet that all of them, or 99 of them, or 100 of them, could have been thwarted if we'd followed reasonable guidelines. It's like saying, well, period. I'll say that. Yeah, because the fact is, if you say that in order to get the data on a phone call, you have to show some reasonable suspicion. The reasonable suspicion could be that this guy called a number of a known suspect, but you at least have to show a court that. You should get the same information without a dragnet that destroys the privacy of every single American.
What are you hearing from your constituents about this? I mean, because there's national security and there's right to privacy.
But this is a conundrum that we have had since before the American Revolution. The American Revolution was launched partly because colonial leaders objected to the British writs of assistance, which simply said it was a writ, you must tell the royal officer anything he wants to know. You must give him any papers he wants to know. That's why we have the Fourth Amendment. Our forebears would certainly not have allowed the government to get any information they wanted about any citizen, which is what we're talking about.
What do you think about the comments made by the Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, who says that this leak is reprehensible? We are now giving terrorists information on how we conduct our business trying to get them.
Well, first of all, I think that any terrorist who didn't think that any time he communicated by cell phone or other electronic device he might be picked up by American intelligence is a very negligent terrorist. So I don't think that really presented a danger. And the fact is, I won't say it. It is good that we know, not the specifics. It is good that we know that our government is doing this so that Congress, which has partly been kept in the dark with a few exceptions, and the American people can make judgments and take actions. Our civil liberties must be protected.
I want to ask you about that, though, Congress being kept in the dark, because Senator Feinstein said anyone who wants to get information about the things on which they have voted, and obviously we've allowed the Patriot Act to continue and the like, can get it. There are those who said, look, we didn't know what was going on, but yet they have voted for it.
Yeah, a lot of people voted for it, and I didn't.
Right. Well, I mean, and this doesn't apply to you.
But a lot of people voted for it without realizing the implications.
But why not? Why don't they realize the implications? Is that information not there for them?
Because the administration at the time and congressional leaders were denying the implications. They were saying, don't worry, we're not going to have dragnet phone call. We're not going to look at every phone call an American makes. No one ever said that. And the members of the Intelligence Committee have been briefed, some of them. Some other members of Congress have been briefed. Most members have not been briefed in detail on this. And you know, members of Congress have to deal with a lot of subjects. There aren't that many who look at in detail at these kinds of issues.
When those members that are privy to classified information in Congress are briefed, can they not share that information? Say you were to call one of your colleagues and say, I need to know what we're dealing with here.
I can brief a certain, yes, I can say to other colleagues certain information. If they're not on the, I'm not even sure I can say to any colleagues if they're not on the appropriate committee, but some of it you can. You can't say it on the floor. You can't say it in public. I mean, some of the frustrations Senator Wyden and Senator Merkley had when they knew what was going on and they couldn't say it out loud. And if you can't say it out loud, you can't get the public upset about it, and it's hard to make a political case for Congress to act.
Are you going to be supporting investigations into finding out who's done the leaking?
Well, it's not a question of supporting. The investigations will proceed, I assume. So I don't have to decide whether to support it or not. And there are leaks and there are leaks. Some more damaging. Frankly, the leak of the PRISM information, although we anticipated that. I was not surprised by that. But others, that affected things abroad, and that leak may have been more damaging. Frankly, the first leak that they're looking at that Verizon and others are giving every telephone call, the metadata, I don't see how that was harmful at all.
When you say that the leak about PRISM may have been more damaging, is that because we are now damaging the operation of PRISM or the image of what's happening? Do we know that PRISM has actually thwarted some terrorist attacks?
I don't know that. I don't know that. I can't answer that question.
How frustrated are you by all of this?
Well,
as you said, you've been opposing the Patriot Act since
not the entire Patriot Act. I mean, parts of it.
Right.
Certainly this part, because we anticipated that this could be the result. We were assured that it wouldn't be, but we anticipated it could be. And there are things we can do. We wanted to narrow this provision to say that before you could get this data, you have to show some articulable, not probable cause, not even reasonable suspicion, but some articulable reason to suspect that you might find out something useful from by going after this phone number or whatever, not just a dragnet. And that's the least the American people can expect.
All right, Representative Gerald Naddler, it's always good to have you. Thank you.
Good to be here.
Just who knew about the IRS targeting, and how has President Obama handled this matter? We've got a new poll on that next.